Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. Alexandra here. How are you all doing? I am filming a palette roundup for you guys today. Just started doing this recently on my channel, and we're just going to talk about all of the eyeshadows that I've been wearing in the last 3 months. I've decided I'm going to do these updates every 3 months. I think last update I said between 2 and 4. I surprisingly wore quite a bit of eyeshadow, for me anyways, in the last 3 months. The way that I'm like writing it down in my book is like super confusing for me. I'm gonna have to be a bit more organized if I'm gonna be pulling from a lot of palettes and a lot of different eyeshadows for different looks, but that's okay. So it might be a little bit mumble jumble today. That's just my life. And I didn't take any pictures of any of like my fun looks that I did. I don't do very many fun looks. I am not an eyeshadow girly. That's why I don't have very many palettes. Probably have too many palettes in my collection. I think I have like 10 or 13, which isn't very many. And some of them I've had for like a decade. Let's just get into what palettes I've been pulling for and what shades from each palette. Only really one look that I should have taken a picture of for you guys. I didn't, and I kind of wish I did. Not gonna go in like order of like most used to least used. I'm not that organized. This is my Urban Decay Naked Basics mini palette. It is grubby. This is one of the old palettes. I think it's at least 10 years, possibly older. And I do have a contour shade that I use from here. Let me pull my trolley over. Contour with 2 shades from here. I can't remember which 2 it is. I crushed it up many years ago and put it, oh, this is the wrong one, but there is one over there. It's in the same component as this, and it's almost used up. It's like down to there. So just trust me, you're gonna see it in the next update. I don't think I talked about this in my last update because technically it's an eyeshadow, but I'm wearing it on my face, but it still counts. So it's 2 of these shades crushed up, and I used it 30 times in the last 3 months to contour. I also used Venus quite a bit. That's this shade over here. I've been using this as an highlighter. Pulled for this Venus shade 14 times in the last 3 months. This palette needs to get used up. Again, it's really old. I did use up last year, I think, the other mini Naked palette. I don't remember which one it was, but I did use it up. This black is going to be difficult for me to use up, but it's in my sights, so I try to pull this out and use it kind of like as much as I can because it needs to be used up. I'm going to talk about the other Urban Decay Naked Ultimate Basics palette in my collection, or the other Urban Decay Naked palette. This has been in my sights as well. It's an older palette. Again, this is one of the ones that's like 10 plus years old. This is what she's looking like. So there is a lot of pans. I just try to incorporate it when I can because, you know, it's got to go. But I pulled it out, and I did pull for the Commando shade a couple of times here, and I really like this shade. Let me see how many times I pulled for it. Yeah, I pulled this shade 2 times in the last 3 months. I really do like the formula and shade of that one. So that is something that I'm like, oh yeah, I should be using this one more like on a regular makeup wearing day because it's going to be like easy for me to use up. And then I pulled for Magnet, this like blue gray 2 times. So this palette got a little bit of love in the last 3 months. This is my mini like Revlon palette. I think it's So Fierce is the name of it. I pulled for these 2 shades 1 time each. It's a brown look that I wear sometimes together. It was basic. I don't love it. My Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. I love the Huda formula. I think it might be my favorite formula for eyeshadows, actually. Momentum shade, which already has pan on it. I used it 7 times in the last 3 months. I love that shade. It's probably going to be the one that I get used up the quickest, obviously, because it's the only one that has pan. Nebula, which I wear with that Urban Decay Magnet. Love that shade. I pulled for it twice. You have to do a sidebar here. I messed up. I also pulled for Extra Bitter 1 time in the last 3 months. I forgot to talk about that one. Let's just backtrack a minute here. I will say this shade is much more like creamy and very pigmented. It's very pigmented. So it also shows up on my skin. I thought it was going to be more orange. It really shows up brown. So I don't love that. Don't know how I'm going to get that one used up, but I'm going to get it used up at some point. Anyways, back to my Huda Beauty Mercury Retrograde palette. Let me see here. I'm going to totally mark this down differently next time because it's like super confusing. I just mark the shades on my paper like as I use them, but really I should have bundled them in like each palette. Lesson learned. I also pulled for Ultraviolet one time. I don't think I'd ever used that shade. Looks like there's a mark on it. One time in a Pride look that I did, I went to a drag show, French drag show last Sunday. So I did like a rainbow under eye or bottom lash line liner look with like all the colors of the rainbow. Super cute. Wish I had taken a picture, but I'm sure I'll do it again another time and you guys will see it then. So I didn't have any purple shades, so I had to pull for this purpley metallic shade from here, and honestly it worked out just fine. Tasha Denona Retro Glam palette. I pulled for Flutter one time in the last 3 months, and that's all that I used from this palette. Update is basically like, these are all my palettes except for 2. So I pulled for almost all my palettes in the last 3 months, which makes me feel good because everything is getting a little bit of love, more or less. So that's all right. This is my Huda Beauty Rose Quartz. I really never used this, maybe one time. And I pulled for it a few times in this update. This might be my Panette palette next year. I'm already thinking, so spoiler. I did do today's look with this palette. Unfortunately, like a lot of the shades pull very pinky purple on my skin, which is good to know. I wasn't going for today. I used Precious, which looks very brown, which is not on my skin, and Radiant, which again, I didn't think they were gonna pull that purpley. And I also used Energized as well, this really pretty gold. This is all one time. I also dipped into Gratitude a few times, I think twice. It was really fun that like I was able to play with this palette so many times in the last couple of months. The formula, the mattes are so nice. And yeah, we'll just see what I do with it next year. I've also like been kind of playing with stuff too because we're going away next month. I might want to do some fun eyeshadow looks, maybe like one day. I might want to do a fun eyeshadow look. So I have to make that one eyeshadow look like worth it because it's only going to be the one time. But that's what today is for. I don't love my looks today, but it's all right. So, but it was fun to play with this palette. And then finally, I actually pulled for my 39L Hit the Lights Morphe palette, this big girl. She hasn't seen much love at all lately. Again, I pulled it because this is where I pulled the look that I wore to that drag show. Because it has a lot of rainbow shades and I don't have a lot of rainbow shades in any of my other palettes. So I used, okay, we're gonna have to use this overlay because this has the names on it. It's gonna be really difficult. I used Hot Stuff down here. This is gonna be so awkward. Hot Stuff down here. All Night here. This yellow shade 2 a.m. Of course, the green shade Out Late. Of course, the blue shade Don't Stop. And then the pink shade Reckless. So that is what I used the other day. Love that. This has sort of been a palette that I'm like, do I want to keep in my collection? And I'm like, yeah, I do. It's great for purposes of like play makeup or like more extravagant looks because the formula is not great. Let's be honest. It's patchy and not good. But for purposes of like a once a year, twice a year, I do think it's probably worth keeping in my collection. And there's some really pretty other like metallic shades. Like this gold is so nice. One of those golds, I can't remember. They're probably both nice. Maybe like pan some of these as like blushes or eyeshadows in the future, I think. Or not eyeshadows, sorry. Blushes and or highlighters. I could see me doing that. That was fun that I got like some love with this one. It's like super distracting. I keep looking at my book, but I think that's everything that I used in the last 3 months. Oh my God, no, I'm lying. She be lying. The shade that had the most use on, we did not talk about. How could I miss that? See, it's bad when you're not organized. Rose Quartz. This is the palette. This is the shade why I started using this one actually. It's like a gel, sparkly kind of looking thing. And on the back, it does say here, it's a pearly gloss hybrid. And because this palette is so old, it's like 5+ years old, I was like, I don't think I should be wearing this on my eyes. I didn't wear it on my eyes because I'm like, I don't feel comfortable with that. And I don't even know if you're supposed to wear it on your eyes. It's kind of like a Vaseline-y. Let me just swatch it. Yeah, it feels very Vaseline-y. It's pretty and like you could wear it, I suppose, as like a highlighter. I don't fuck with cream highlighters or anything, so it's of no use to me. but I suppose that's what you could do with it. So I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get use out of this pearly glossy gel shade? And I was like thinking about it, and I'm like, well, I don't have use for it on my eyes. I don't have use for it on my face. And then it dawned on me, I can use it in my brows. Okay, so it's very sparkly, very blue, sparkly. Not great for my brows, for that aspect, but I do put it on my eyebrows. I'm not wearing it today. I only do it at work days, so nobody can really like see me. And I put it on my brows. It's like a brow gel, and then I put eyeshadow over my brows because that's how I fill in my brows. And you know what? It's been working really good. It's a really great sticky base, which I love that for me. And that's how I'm going to get it used up, hopefully in the next year. I did use it, I believe, 32 times. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 37 times. That is super exciting that I was able to like figure out a way to like make the shade work for me. I love that. I love finding ways of like multitasking things. I would not recommend it because it does make your eyebrows a little sparkly. So if you want to like glitter, do that. And I do notice on like hot days, it doesn't get that hot here. We haven't even cracked 25 at all, and we're almost in July, so it doesn't get that hot here in Newfoundland. But on days that it's like over 15, I feel like my eyebrows get like kind of oily, almost itchy from the gel. And I'm not putting a whole bunch on my eyebrows either. I'm quite like, you know, frugal with it. So it's not the best for that, but I'm like, for the purpose of getting it used up, you betcha your girl is gonna wear it to work. And it's working out just fine. So that was really great. That was the shade, eyeshadow shade. It's in an eyeshadow palette that I have used the most in the last 3 months. So 37 times is not bad. And I found a way to multitask it. So love that. I think it's been fun that I've been able to like play with my eyeshadows and not feel like I have to pan certain ones. Because in other years when I've done like pan that palette or like pan those powders and it was all like eyeshadows in there, I always felt like I needed to only use what was in my project. I did not do that this year. I do have a pan that palette, but it's a face palette, so it's been really nice to just sort of be like using whatever I want to use, and I love that for me. I'm not an eyeshadow girly, but I am like wearing eyeshadow here and there, and I surprisingly wore a lot more than I thought I was going to use in the last 3 months, so that's kind of interesting to note as well. That is everything for my palette roundup. I used a lot of my palettes, all but 2, like I said, so you've seen them all now. I don't know how much I'm going to wear in the next few months. Probably quite a bit, but I don't think I'm going to bounce around and be using all of these palettes like I did in the next 3 months. I mean, you never know, but I think I'm going to like cool it and just be like, we're good. We're good. And I might only use a few of my palettes, but we'll see. So we'll see the next time I do an update for you guys. If anybody has that Rose Quartz Huda Beauty palette, what are you doing with that? I think it's called Love Stone shade, the jelly one. Yeah, Love Stone. How are you wearing it? How do you use it? Do you think it's safe to use after 5 years on your eyes? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next one. Bye.